Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fifth Road Tarot. Welcome to um, your reading for the week of March 29th. As you can see, I've got something new here. Just essentially, I know that I don't show my face in these readings. Last week, I thought it was really good to begin the reading with a little bit of a breath meditation, because the thing about tarot is that I know some people can get caught up in, looking for answers for the future. And especially at a time like right now, what I don't want to do in these sessions is, excuse me, um, take you, in a sense, away from your own power and away from into, more of the things that are, the uncertainty that's going on around you. What I want to do is remind you of your own power and your own ability to manage yourself, your emotions, your path, and just remind you of your own strength, really. Um, so I want to begin just with a quick meditative breathing and invite you to recall your power, call back all your power to yourself, call in all your protective boundaries for yourself while also finding love for everything around you, hopefully. So let's just, for a couple of minutes, I want you to close your eyes if you can, where you are, and just breathe normally. And in that breathing normally, let's just be in this present moment, wherever you are. If you can, while you're listening, just breathe normally. And after about 5 breaths, I want you to breathe in through your nose and hold it, and then breathe out through your mouth with an ah, and just release all of the energy that has been maybe held in for some time. If you haven't done your own meditative sessions, just releasing any energy spent. Let's do that again. Breathe in, deep breath. And out through the mouth. Feel the tension leaving your shoulders, leaving your body. You feel relaxed. Just let everything, just feel everything flow out of the bottom of your feet and into the ground. One more deep breath. Out through the mouth. And then back to breathing normally. And so what I want to remind you to do in this session is understand that you are in control. You are in your power. And while you are breathing normally, I want you to call back, say out loud, I call in all my power. I call in all my power. I call in all my power. And hopefully you feel the energy of that statement to yourself. You're calling back all your powerful boundaries, all your powerful love, all your powerful spirit. And in the exhalation, you are giving that love back while maintaining your loving boundaries, maintaining your promises to yourself to keep yourself safe so that you can move around in this world. Okay, I hope that is helpful. Let's go ahead and start the reading. Put this over here. Take a quick sip of water. Okay, so let's get started. I've got all my cards piled up here. Just didn't get a chance to put them back. So let's go ahead and get started with the reading. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Rider-Waite Tarot. I'm going to ask the spirit of fire, the spirit of water, the spirit of air, and the spirit of earth to come into this reading. And I also ask for the fifth element to come in, and that is the spirit that combines all of those elements together. The nature that I want to say combines us all. I ask that spirit to come in. I also ask the spirit of the universe to be present in this reading and come through with a message for the collective at this time. Thank you so much, Spirit. No, I keep wanting to cut it like it's a personal reading, and it's not. So let's go ahead and get some cards. Spirit, do you have any advice for us for the week of March 29th, 2020? Spirit, do you have any advice for us, for the collective? Wow, 3 cards all at once. Was that 3? No, that was this 2. Okay, I've got 2 cards. Spirit, oh, there we go. Awesome. Spirit, do you have any more cards for us for the week of March 29th, 2020? Okay. Spirit's got a lot to say. Okay. Oops, I may have hit the camera there. That's fine. Okay. So let's look at this. I'm gonna just lay this out so it's a little bit easier to look at. So the first card we have is the Ace of Swords. Next, we have the Hermit. Then we have the Page of Cups, the Four of Pentacles, and the Ten of Wands, which I believe we've seen maybe a couple weeks ago. Okay, so these 2 cards came out together, so I'll talk about them first. Let's make sure you can see those. Okay, so the Ace of Swords and the Hermit. The Ace of Swords is a card of course, this is swords, so this is about thoughts, ideas. But because this is the Ace of Swords, this is about a gift. We are being given a gift of new thought, a gift of clarity. And what we're doing at this point, and because these 2 cards came out together, I'm going to go ahead and look at them both at the same time. The Hermit I see the Hermit as looking very closely. The light is being shown on this gift of clarity, this divine gift of clarity. And we're looking at what this means for us and how to essentially, how do we use this clarity? We're trying to figure out how we use this clarity to turn the tide of things in our favor. We're looking for, it's almost, I hear I hear that we're looking a gift horse in the mouth, actually. I don't know where that came from, and it's making me laugh. But so we're kind of looking a gift horse in the mouth in the sense in that we're not accepting this clarity that has come up. And even though we're trying to use it to our advantage, right? we just need to take the sword. We need to take the clarity and run with it. Um, wow. Yeah. And of course, in these times of isolation, we can see the hermit is, someone who is by themselves on a journey, carrying the light, and the hermit is meant to shine the light on the truth. But of course, in this case, we see that the hermit is turned away from, if we think of in most, we have a linear way of thinking, right? We have a way of thinking about how things move from left to right, the beginning, and on and on and on, to the end. But right now, the hermit is looking at the past, and we're trying to, what we need to do really is move forward, right? We need to continue our progression and not keep looking back. So I'm going to put these two cards down, and the next card up is the Page of Cups. So this is a court card. This is page. So cups are about emotions. When we get to the page, that means we've gotten to the Ten of Cups, where maybe we were at our peak at a certain point, and now we've gone into a new level of royalty of the cups, right? So we're moving into a new level of emotion. And the pages, while they are the youngest, these are young ideas, these are students, with the Page of Cups, brings a gift. We see the fish in the cup. Oftentimes, this card is about pregnancy. Um, what I see in this card, in addition to pregnancy, of course, we're looking to the future. We're moving on to this next step of being emotionally matured. We're on the path of emotional maturity here. And this is just the beginning. Pages, again, this represents a young person. This represents someone very new to their craft, new. We're all kind of in the beginning stages of emotion, of processing, mm, of understanding what it is we've been gifted with. Because if we think about pregnancy in the sense of our emotions, we are in a time of changed emotions. We're looking at our emotions differently. We are about to we are just what's the word? Just gestating? Just what's the word? Some new emotion is building in us. Some new way of looking at how we relate to each other, how we talk to each other, how we are involved with each other. We're looking at a new way of doing that, and we're on the beginning journey. So it looks as if this hermit has turned around with the Page of Cups. The hermit has now turned around with this energy and has moved into the Page of Cups. Okay, so now we go to Four of Pentacles has come up. Now the Four of Pentacles, this is about our foundation is being loosened. Where we've stood for so long where we have stood for so long, where we are is loosening. And it almost feels like, in this card, it almost feels as if this feels like the rug being pulled out from underneath our feet. We are needing to let go, in a sense, of some of the things that we deemed some of them are materialistic ideas, are ideas that the things that we have um, are more important than the people in our lives. So some of us may have had the rug pulled out from under us. Some of us may have to let go of some material items. Um, but in the end, the release of those things releases us to really understand and put ourselves in this Page of Cups stance. You know, we're able to drop our, this is ego. This is ego. And not to say that all ego is bad, but this is the ego of, this guy is sitting down. He's got both his feet on his pentacles. He's holding tightly onto the pentacle in his arms, and he's got his thoughts that he's holding on to about how he made these pentacles, and he is not letting go. And this is, not only is this um, the rug being pulled out from under us, right? And, our ideas of material success, of being the definer of who we are, right? We are in a stance of finding new ways to define what this earthly success is. We are in a position to do that. But here it's interesting. I also see the changing of the mind. When we think about it in that way, I also see the changing of the mind here. We change our ideas, our the pentacle is sitting on his head. So that shows me that because the pentacle is on his head, he values his thoughts, his um he values his way of thinking, and in some ways this could be someone holding a grudge, or someone doing something begrudgingly, or you're doing something out of spite, and it's not going to help you. If this, regardless of what we're going through right now, and it in our, if you're looking for the 3D sense of this, of course, and you're not looking for the spiritual message, the message here is you're holding on to a grudge. You're holding on to the belief that you are right, and what you're doing is right, and what you're doing is this is ego. This is an overboard ego. This is ego that has gone beyond. Um, yes, this is ego that has gone beyond what is necessary, to the point that because you believe you're so right, you are not budging when you need to, but the rug is being pulled out from under you. What you considered material, the material success that you believed was important to you in the world, is not what is important. What is important is your relationship with others, what you can bring forth, what you can birth. This Page of Cups, though he though she be small, right? This is a very powerful card in this reading for the hermit to have gone through this process of looking a gift horse in the mouth and saying, you know what, that's ego. I need to turn this around and understand this is an opportunity for me to start new in a new place, right? Wow. So I'm done with this card, because this is all about grudge, ego, and again, the rug has been pulled out from beneath you. And if you resist the rug, guess what happens? You fall right on your butt. I'm just gonna keep going. Um, so the last card we have is the Ten of Wands. Let me see if I can pull that closer. So the Ten of Wands has come up in another reading. Um, And here again, it's the same message of, you've been in this barren land with all, yeah, because wands are about passion, action. This is not only that, it's, if we look at cups as our spiritual action, our inner change, how we change, how we relate to ourselves and others. This is the physical action that backs up this Page of Cups action. So we end up, we are leaving a space where our actions are no longer maintainable. We can no longer maintain in the space where we are, because you see this man has gathered up all his wands and he's leaving what looks to be, mud, desert, and he's moving toward this castle, the trees. It's almost as if he's saying, I give up. I'm done. I'm finished. And he's moving all his actions, all his wants, his passions, his need for adventure. He is moving them away from where they are not sustainable, where they are not nurtured. Because right now, and the thing is that he's moving them while they still have new growth, right? And it looks like that movement is going to be healthy for those actions, so that any other actions that we take from this point forward are going to be sustainable. All right, so I want to look at the bottom of the deck. And what the bottom of the deck tells us is this is about, confusion. We're in a state of confusion right now. And honestly, this is just, everyone is talking, everyone is, confused. Everyone is, trying to figure out, where do the wands go? Where do the wands go? Where do the wands go? Meanwhile, you already having gone through this process. This is finding a way out of confusion. Yes. This reading is finding a way out of confusion. And the funny thing about it, the card underneath is about, the card underneath this card on the bottom of the deck is the Two of Cups. So you're finding clarity, and not only are you finding clarity, but you're moving through this confusion, and you are gifting your cup as the Page of Cups, right, to another person who has also found that clarity within themselves. This is also the soulmate card. So, yeah, this is amazing. Let's see. Okay. So I think the main part here is, the whole thing to me is the main part. But a lot of times we have a hard time, you know, I'm laughing because, I'm trying to think of a time when I had to move out of ego. So that I can give you an example. Um, okay. Okay, let's talk about it. Um, I once had a situation where, those moments where you are, it's almost like all of a sudden a light turns on in your head, right? I'm just gonna put these cards up so you can see it. So there's moments where, there's that moment of, oh, moment of insight, moment of clarity. I get it. I get it. I get what's happening right now without really, this also speaks a little bit to intuition, but it's that moment of like the light comes on and you're like, "Oh, I get it now," without someone, on the outside kind of telling you what's going on. You're like, "Ah, I get it. I get it. That's what's going on. That's what's happening." And that happened to me once of I I can't believe I'm sharing this. Um had a long-term relationship, and in one moment, in one phone call, in one instance of something happening, it was like click, and I understood. I understood. The not to say that this is part of the reading, but the rejection, the silent treatment, the borderline, emotional abuse that was happening. And I hope that I'm not triggering anyone, but I do invite you to invoke your boundaries as necessary and leave the reading if you need to for your own health. Um, but in that moment, in a phone call, in one statement, it clicked with me. And I was like, I get it. I just started laughing in response to the statement that was said to me by this person. And I said, okay. And I hung up the phone and I just walked away from a 7-year relationship, 8-year relationship, however long it was. And in that moment, it wasn't completely over, but it was over. And I understood why it was over. And I hope that we're not waiting for this click of, I get it, right? And that's why the hermit is able to say, you know what, I'm dropping, I'm turning around, I'm stepping out into the world as the Page of Cups, as, I've reached emotional understanding, and I'm now ready to begin the journey of self-love, of learning to love others properly, of learning to let go when necessary and move forward, because I can birth something new. I can renew the relationships that are most important to me. I can renew my relationship with myself. And not only that, I can still continue to have relationships with the people that hurt me if I heal, if I go through the healing process. So this clarity is the hermit definitely turning around and saying, it's time to start anew. It's time. The rug has been pulled out from underneath my feet. It's time to change my thought. It's time to let go of what I thought was so important when really it was all just materialistic. Yeah? All right. I want to do a quick Power of Surrender card. I've been thinking about, I don't know why, with stuff that's coming up, I wanted to pull a surrender card, and then we will go on and about with our week. These surrender cards are by Judith Orloff, and these are some really good cards to identify where we need to surrender, where we need to, what we need to do in order to begin our healing. And they're very beautiful. Okay, Spirit, can we get some advice on, we're here to surrender. Okay, ooh, nice. Where else do we need to surrender, Spirit? Where else? Where else do we need to surrender? Okay. Alright, that's Okay, this is really important. Surrender, denial. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to read it really quickly. Surrender, denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are. Oh, sorry, my hand is shaking there. I've just been doing yoga. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. Yeah. So that example that I gave you, and in the example of the cards here, the hermit surrenders. The hermit surrenders denial and accepts the truth of the situation, accepts the clarity here. Wow. Wow. Very, very beautiful. I hope this is a helpful reading for you. I hope the meditation or meditative breathing session was helpful to you. I want you to be in your highest power when you listen to any kind of tarot reading, because I want you to feel safe in doing this, and safe in your own trusting your own story, and seeing tarot as, you know what, this is just one part of, a possibility, a story. And a lot of times when we read, like, think about, one of the fiction books that you read, and it's just a way of being enchanted by story and understanding how story relates to your life, or lessons that you may be able to apply. So all of the lessons here may not apply to you. The story may not apply to you, but maybe pieces of it do, and maybe pieces of it you can see throughout the week. But either way, I wish you a wonderful week. Thank you for being here with me today, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much.